Hello, I'm Debbie Roy. Welcome to another episode of Success in Art. It's a show where we're talking about artists and creative types and business people who have found a way to live their passion and share their joy with others. Our tagline is Inspire and Be Inspired. Our guest today has many disciplines. She's a music teacher and a stylist. Welcome, Tiffany Dunyon.
Thank you very much.
How are you today?
Very well. I'm very excited to be here.
We're glad to have you. Now, first, let's talk about kind of your first passion, your first love, and that would be music, correct?
Correct. I've loved to sing since I was very little. I think a lot of times we can find our passions when we're little because we're so free to explore whatever, makes our hearts sing. And that is, in fact, what my tagline is, empowering students to do what makes their hearts sing.
I love that. And I think you're right. You watch children and they're so uninhibited. They don't, no one tells them they can't sing or they can't dance. I think that's something we kind of learn as adults, that, oh, I can't draw, I can't sing, I can't.
Oh.
But that's the thing about your passions, creativity, is anyone can sing, right?
Yes, it's all valid. I tell that to my students. It's all valid. You don't come from bad going to good. It's all valid. You have a voice for a reason, and it's meant to be expressed. You can always work with what you've got to have more access to the vocal instrument that you have. And it's a lot of fun to work with.
So I'm guessing you work with people one-on-one to kind of tap that piece inside of them that's going to let their voice out?
Yes, that is correct. I work a lot in one-on-one lessons. I'm very sensitive and empathic, so it allows me to really tailor things to the individual, which is so important when you're dealing with creativity, because everybody is on their own path and has their own journey, and it's important to honor that.
Yeah. So you learned you loved to sing as a child, and how did you grow that? How did you foster that growing up and continue that path?
I think I always had a love for it in my heart, and growing up I was a little bit of a late bloomer with it. I started voice lessons right before I turned 16, and I started to really nurture that one-on-one that way, but I'd always loved to sing when I was little, so no matter what your passion is, you can always revisit it. It's always inside of you.
Yeah. And how did you can you walk me through maybe some of the steps how you turned that passion into a real business?
Oh, absolutely. I had some wonderful mentors and teachers along the way that were private teachers themselves, and when I started taking lessons, I knew this is what I want to do. I have a passion for teaching and connecting with other people and helping them achieve their highest and their best personally, and I love to sing, so it made perfect sense to coordinate those. I took classes at community college. I studied voice in college as well as music, early childhood, as well as picking excellent teachers privately that I can study with that really understand me, that were excellent with tailoring their craft to me so I could then learn how to tailor it to other people. And that's what I do even today. I still take voice because it's so important. The voice never stops growing, and you never stop learning. So as long as I learn, I can still bring new things to my students.
Yeah, so that's awesome that you had such inspiring teachers. So not only did you learn how to sing, but you learned how to teach. That sounds like from some of your mentors. Now, when did you actually take the leap of faith to go from a hobby into actually like, okay, I want to do this. I want to. What was it like to get your first student?
It was exhilarating. I mean, there's so many different emotions. Of course, when you start something, there's that excitement, there's that nervousness, but I knew I was going for it. My internal GPS had pointed me this way, and all you have to do is say yes and go for it. And I knew when I was 16, and so I geared my studies towards that. And I took my first students, being early childhood, for Music Boost program, which I designed when I was in my early 20s with help of some mentors. And it was exhilarating. It was so exciting. It's like I came alive.
Okay, so we'll get to your music muse in a second. So your first classes were actually for children?
Yes, first classes were Music Moose for early childhood, and started the group classes, and it was a hit.
Okay, so tell me about those classes. So we have the Music Moose Music Studio, and we actually have a little Music Moose here. He's a puppet. You can actually grab him if you want to.
Sure.
And, so what is that like? What is that program like? Why did you develop it? Who's it for?
It's for ages 3.5 through 6, and I also developed a curriculum for special needs, adults with special needs. It can double for kids with special needs too. It's amazing what creativity does. When you start you know, you put yourself out there and people find, you know, this is a great fit for this population, for that population. So I started with early childhood, 3.5 through 6, and I decided, you know, kids are so smart, and when you deliver it in a way that's fun and engaging, and we're there at the center of the attention, and you mix puppets and dice games and all these interactive things, they come alive and they learn the language of music so much easier than, you know, if it's dictated to them.
Yeah, and children, like I said, they're little sponges, and especially, like I said, if you incorporate play, they want to try new things. They want to try new, you know, music instruments, and I'm sure they're very thrilled to kind of learn that. And also, you said special needs, you know, sometimes that's the only way to reach people is through music or art or, you know, kind of unconventional ways.
Oh, absolutely. And I have tubs of instruments, and we actually apply different music concepts. Each class has a different music concept. So whether it's forte or beat or opera music or rock and roll, you know, something that's integral in the language of music, we're applying that with instruments. They're at the helm in their own process, and we switch instruments. We sing with it. There's even composing with glow eggs, where we learn about quarter notes, quarter rests, and it's introduction to great hand-eye coordination. Yeah. It's introduction to composing, and of course there's a puppet show with Music Moose.
So they don't even know they're learning, they're just having fun.
They're just having fun.
They go home and sing. So what age range is that geared for?
It's geared for 3.5 through 6, and there's a program as well that's geared for special needs. Yeah. In addition.
And what would someone, if say they wanted to try it out, what would they expect if they were to sign up for a class?
Well, I actually make classes available to developmental agencies, to schools, so I travel on site and bring my classroom. For me to travel, I bring everything, instruments. So you start a class, we start with singing, and then we segue into instruments and really expressing ourselves that way. We incorporate singing with the instruments, composing with glow eggs or maracas, and then, you know, there's a puppet show with Music Moose where he speaks to a composer puppet. Okay.
You said glow eggs. What are glow eggs?
Glow eggs. They're little like egg shakers, glow egg shakers, and
so
these
like
glow in the dark.
Yeah,
little maracas, or maracas or jingle sticks. So there's a variety that can be incorporated.
I've started to buy some music instruments for my kids because I started some children's classes too. And yes, no, like a drum. It's just amazing. They just want to dance. They want to move. They want to do all these sort of things.
Oh, absolutely. And I've worked privately one-on-one with children using these methods. I incorporate my instruments in voice lessons for kids that are really young, because it helps with the attention span and their engagement, and it's important to keep it positive and fun.
And that's the thing with kids when they're learning. It's more than just learning one thing. They're not just learning music. They're learning, like you said, cognitive skills, physical skills, spatial skills, and balance, coordination. I mean, there's so much going on.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the most important things that parents have told me from their child's participation, whether it's privately or in Music Moose classes, is that their child is more vocal. And that's not just from singing, that's from expressing themselves. Whether it's movement or instruments, it all parlays into building a child's confidence that what they're expressing is good and valid, and it builds their confidence.
So they start to come out of their shell, they start to express their own talents, and it's really good for a parent, as a parent, to kind of pay attention to those cues and really nurture those sort of things.
Oh, absolutely.
So then, you know, so you teach these classes, you said in schools and groups, so if someone wanted to maybe put together a class, what would the process be for that?
Just giving me a call. I have my information on my web presence. It's www.facebook.com/empowervoicestudio, and that has information for voice lessons, Music Moose, special needs, the whole thing. You can also call me at 603-818-0112.
Okay. And now, do you currently offer any classes for the general public? Like, do you have any regular sessions that anyone can come and sign up, or is
Not at this time, but I'd be interested in developing something like that for the community.
If there's an interest,
you can contact me if you have an interest for that.
Okay. So you started with this, and I think it's amazing. You started with something like this, and then it kind of grew.
Yes, I'd singing, and then started with early childhood, and then started my voice studio, and it was a lot of fun. I've worked with music stores, I've worked with developmental agencies, and worked privately, so I've gotten a lot of experience working in different settings with people. So very versatile, a lot of fun.
So it kind of grew from like a group setting into some one-on-one sessions. Is that what primarily this is, or is this another group session?
It's actually different. I started with voice lessons and decided, and from my mentors that encouraged me, they said, you know, you'd be good with early childhood, and designed a class for that. So it was kind of separate, but as I started doing them, I realized, you know, you can blend the early childhood program and then take the instruments and help incorporate that in lessons and grow their talents that way. So it kind of, you know, it blends really nicely.
Yeah, and that's the other funny thing is, like, you know, like I said, I think especially in today's day and age where we're so technical, we're attached to our phones, I think people are craving the creativity.
They are.
So the adults kind of like the puppets and the play and the music too. I mean, it's something new where we're kind of resetting and going back to our roots and finding something authentic in ourselves, and we're disconnecting from, you know,
oh, yes.
we're bombarded today with too much technology. So
absolutely, it's nice because in voice and music you have to find that quiet, relaxed space inside of you and what you want to express. That's how it flows most freely, is finding that.
So now, you know, I think a lot of us, I think, again, kids are kind of uninhibited and they'll do whatever, but as you grow up, you find adults and say, I can't sing, I can't draw, I can't dance. So what is your typical student, you know, and how does someone find you, and what would they experience in your class?
Oh gosh, students, teenagers, kids, anybody that likes to sing, anybody that's in theater, musical theater, adults that are interested in singing for fun, therapeutic reasons, recreationally, or adults that sing more seriously, or in choir for church, or in choir groups. It's an excellent outlet. I also work with speakers and helping coordinate the speaking voice, because so many teachers or professionals use their voices and find that they're going hoarse by the end of the day. And one of my teachers and mentors had a certificate in vocology, passed on to me how to coordinate the speaking voice, and it helps your singing voice as well. It can keep you out of the doctor's office. It can help with the longevity of your voice so that you don't go hoarse by the end of the day, because you only get one voice.
So, but that's interesting. So speaking, you know, is that kind of more like, you know, how to do public speaking? How, you know, what is that?
It's about how to breathe correctly, how to coordinate the vocal muscles and the tissue to where you're speaking very economically and in a way that's healthy, to where you're not eroding unnecessarily, you know, the muscles and tissue in your voice.
So learning to relax and just let it flow naturally, the true voice come out.
Yes, exactly.
That's fascinating.
It is. My singing was definitely benefited when I learned how to speak as well. So I'm finding there's so many outlets to having voice, and it's wonderful to be able to share that with adults of all ages. I work with seniors. I've worked with teenagers looking for scholarship audition pieces and working more seriously with voice, as well as kids who really love it, and autism, special needs. Yep. It's wonderful.
So it sounds like you work all skill levels, from someone who just wants to maybe try to learn to sing to someone who actually does this maybe professionally, or like a Miss New Hampshire or something that just wants to improve their talents for maybe competition.
Yes.
Or the chorus. Or
exactly. I work with a variety. I love it. It keeps me engaged and helps me keep learning as well, because you learn so much by working with other people of all different walks of life, and it enriches me and enriches them.
Okay. Now, and I forgot to mention at the beginning, so you're fairly new to the area.
Yes.
So you started this business, and where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Kansas.
From Kansas.
Actually.
So you had this business in Kansas, and it kind of moved with you?
Oh, absolutely.
New to Derry, new to southern New Hampshire. So you're trying to start programs up here. What do you think so far?
I love it. The people up here are so nice and so welcoming, and the small business support is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. I am impressed.
Yeah, it's a great community. Derry has a lot to offer. Southern New Hampshire, there's a lot of great things. So I wish you success in that.
Thank you.
But I hear you have another passion. So
yes.
Was there anything else that we forgot to mention about the singing that, you know, you'd like to tell people, or?
I think if you're interested in, you know, singing, speaking, music for early childhood special needs, feel free to contact me anytime. I have a web presence, and I get that information will be up at the end as well. I can be contacted at my phone, email, 603-818-0112.
Yeah, and then you have a Facebook page too. And again, we'll have all the information up at the end. And so, like I said, I think it's a great creative outlet. I've noticed lately there's kind of a renaissance in creativity. You know, he's noticing these painting classes popping up, and I think people want to get back to something, again, that's authentic and creative. So I think this is a great alternative to find a creative spark.
Thank you.
You know, so I hope people will embrace that. So let's move on. So, and that business was called?
Oh, yes, Tiffany Dunyon Studio of Voice, and the early childhood and special needs classes that I do for adults are called Music Moose classes.
Okay, and you have a third business.
Yes.
That's the funny thing about creative people. Creative people just never have just one thing, and I think that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Like when you let creativity run, there is no limit. There's no limit, and it's great because you grow, and as you grow, the people around you that you work with can grow as well.
Yeah, and like you said, it's about continued learning and teaching, but that's the thing with creativity. It cannot be contained to one style of artwork, one sort of thing. And I think a lot of us creative people, or with that mindset, the right brain, tend to do a lot of things.
Oh, exactly.
Teaching, like I do Tai Chi and art, and so you have some music lessons, and you have another business called Empower Style Wardrobe Consulting.
Yes.
So what is that?
I love clothing and fashion. I have since I was 5. My 5-year-old self would be so thrilled to find that I went into my 2 passions, clothing and singing.
I think that's awesome.
That's what it's about for everybody, finding what your passion is early on before any conditioning set in and going for it. So I found it refound me again as I was setting up my businesses for voice lessons, for Music Moose, for early childhood and special needs, the importance of, oh, I can express myself. How do I want to translate my personality and my creativity and my skill set visually, because so much of our communication is visual. Yeah. They say up to 95% of that is visual. So I fell in love with the art of line and silhouette and how to present yourself visually. It's so fun. There's so much creativity involved. So my tagline for Empower Style is empowering women to make every day a work of art, because that's what it's about. Every day is worth making a work of art. And
when you take a little bit of time and work on your appearance and your wardrobe, you feel that much better. You walk taller, you're more confident.
It infuses, definitely my lessons. It infused my lessons with that sense of creativity and confidence, just because, people respond to what you put out there visually, and it comes back to you and the students and everyone around you.
So I'm going to ask you the same sort of question. So how did you take the leap? You had kind of an interest in style and wardrobe. So what did you do to turn that, again, into a business?
I started studying from, different stylist materials, because there's not one way. It is a general science, though. It is a learnable science. When I first started, as a teenager, I didn't have fashion sense. Thank God, it's a learnable language. And it's positive for everybody. So no matter if you're fashion challenged or not, you can learn and be taught how to do this. And so that's what I do. I'm in the business of helping teach other people, other women, how to translate that language. And I was actually a mentor of mine. I had a wonderful mentor, mental health professional, who also taught me how to teach, from your highest self. And she said, you're really good at this. I said, I really like this as well. She says, why limit yourself,
Oh, yeah, I think once you learn to teach, and teaching is connecting, really connecting with another person. I think once you learn to teach someone, you can kind of teach anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And it kind of grows. And I think you found I think from talking to you before, you maybe found a need because you were interested in fashion and wardrobe, but there was no classes to take at the time. There was,
Absolutely.
So you did a lot of research on your own.
I did research on my own. I've, of course, been a what not to wear junkie as well, and just saturating myself in what's online. There's so many different creative perspectives on how to do that, in addition to reading and researching that, and just experimenting yourself. It's about creating consistency in your wardrobe, not perfection. Same with voice. It's about consistency, not perfection. It is all valid.
It's all about the journey and not the destination.
It is.
So, how did you start with your current clients for music? Did you put an ad out? Say, how did you find your first client and grow it from there?
Personal networking. When I found that my clients for music, after they got to know me and we'd have a relationship for years, that they were like, what? I could really use this service, and they were comfortable. Because, clothing, singing, it's all very personal, and you want to feel very comfortable with the person you're allowing into your very personal space, whether it's wardrobing or voice. It's very psychological. And so I worked with the people that were around me and built a Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/empowerstyle, where I give free tips, and anybody can hit a like on that and get some free fashion tips and interact.
So you started with your personal network of people who are already around you, and,
right.
and kind of reached out to their friends, and then you created a business presence on Facebook.
Yes.
And then did people find you on Facebook?
Yes, in fact, I've had great success here in the short time that I've been here. So I'm really excited to generate some interest for that, and had good interest.
Yeah. And then, because the show is not, it's about living your passion, but also teaching other people like some of the processes of getting there. So A, reach out to your friends.
Yes.
B, create an online presence, whether that's a website, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
And then C, you join some local networking groups.
Oh, absolutely. The Chamber has been wonderful and very inviting. The connections that are made face to face are the most important, I think, because you can make a good personal impression, and that's what creative people are about. It's very personal, and certainly somebody that's looking to pursue their creativity wants a personal connection. You don't want a cold connection. So
Yeah.
networking is
especially when
really
you're looking for a
important.
teacher, because you can
Yes.
take one class and hate it and think you hate the subject, and really it's just the teacher you didn't connect with.
Exactly.
And I find that a lot too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for, picking your professionals you work with, very carefully, and being true to your authentic self, and finding somebody that works well with you.
Yeah, and then it seems like you're kind of a walking billboard, because your style is amazing, and the green looks great on you. So,
Thank you.
You have a great presence, and in this sort of industry, it seems like that would also be, where did you get that dress? Where did you find those things together? So do you get those sort of questions?
Oh yes, in fact, the services I offer through Empower Style for women, we can do guided shopping. We can go through closets and find out what really isn't working for your personality, body type, coloring. Either tailor it or weed it out altogether, and find out what the gems in your closet are, and remix what you've already got. Oftentimes women don't have to buy a whole new wardrobe.
No.
It's just learning what you have, and then what pieces you need to procure that will present an up-to-date, most authentic version of yourself. And it's not a whole wardrobe. It's a lot of fun to find, like, oh, I need this, and that's really going to make these pants or this top extend a lot further.
So you go through what you currently have, and it seems like it'd be great to have kind of a second opinion, because it's hard to let go of things, and so we end up with way too much, and we don't wear half of it, or it doesn't look good, or But when you have someone saying, well, this looks great on you, this maybe not your best style, I think that kind of helps you weed through things.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things I do with women is, we go through and assess, what body type, what coloring, and I have a sheet that I email to people of, these are what you want to look for in, your tops, your bottoms, your dresses, accessories, versus what you want to avoid. So you can learn by the compare and contrast. So you have like a grocery list of, okay, I want to look for this style, I want to avoid other styles that may not be as flattering. So it helps streamline the process, so shopping isn't a nightmare.
And then if you're still nervous, then you'll actually go and shop with them.
Yes, exactly. So there's so many ways to teach.
Yeah. So it sounds like, you'll actually go to their house, you'll look at what they have to start with. It sounds like a good place to start, what you already have. And then once you weeded that through, either they're great, just combine these things that you didn't think of before, maybe buy a couple scarves or accessories.
Sure.
And if you find that nothing really works that well, then you'll actually go and shop with them.
Exactly.
On their budget, I'm guessing, and the stores they're comfortable with. And
Sure, exactly. And I have a list of stores if they don't know where to shop. Like, I have excellent lists of stores of where to go to find these particular items. It's helpful to know that, because sometimes we go to the same store and it may not be working as well for us for everything. So it's nice to have an ability to expand. And
you said you work with different body types, because I can't necessarily shop the same place that someone else could. They don't have the same fashions. Shoes are impossible for me to find. So you're familiar with different sort of body types, and from petite all the way up to plus size, and can work with each person individually.
Absolutely. It's about tailoring it to the individual's experience, giving them the best input and advice that's really going to help them express from their authentic selves, personally, professionally, comfortably, and confidently.
Okay, so I think that's interesting. So is there anything else that you offer in this business? So, personal styling, wardrobe accessories, guided shopping, and closet makeovers.
Yes, and parties. I can go to women's houses. They can gather their girlfriends and, do an hour-themed kind of style party. It's a lot of fun.
So do you do that kind of like for a seasonal, what's new, what colors are in the season?
I do that. I can kind of tailor it. If they're, a group of professionals, then I tailor it to the audience. Of course, I know, just just through marketing my businesses, I've learned a lot about the professional sector, and it's vital to have that when you're presenting as a business owner, as a creative person. You want to communicate all that creativity, and it's wonderful to be able to do that casually and in a more dressy sense.
Yeah, so you know how to kind of segment your closet. So these are your casual, normal wear, and then for your business, you don't need a whole wardrobe. You just need a couple key pieces, correct?
Correct. A sheath dress goes a long way, or a pencil skirt, or an A-line skirt with a blouse and a blazer.
Yeah.
It's really nice and really simple when you learn the basics and the mechanics of what works for you. It really opens up the world.
And then you have your little black dress, but then you have a different blazer, different scarf, or different accessories, so you can go from day to night.
Exactly.
You know.
It's about working with what you've got and helping transform it so it can go from day to night.
Awesome. All right, so I see that you have some styles here today, so we're going to take a break and we're going to look at some of these styles. She's going to kind of explain some of these and what they are, and then we'll be right back.
Well, hello, my name's Tiffany Dunyon. I'm owner and stylist with Empower Style Wardrobe Consulting, and today we're going to be talking about how to mix patterns. It's a really popular modern trend, and it's really fun to do. So this is how we can make every day a work of art with mixing patterns. First, we're going to start casually, and then we're going to segue into something that's more for a professional setting. So over here we have a nice basic kind of casual outfit, but it's interesting. And what makes it interesting is that we've mixed patterns, and how we can mix patterns, we want to make sure that we have a solid in there so that not everything is going crazy with pattern. So that's where this nice purple cardigan comes in. It's very flattering on so many different skin types. That's why I recommend purple. The scarf is great. It's not only got great pops of color, but this pattern is bigger. It's much bigger and it's more random. That's why we can pair it with a smaller pattern that's more consistent. The black and white stripes are not quite as big of a pattern, which means that these two patterns can complement one another. You have something that's smaller and something that's larger that can be juxtaposed next to one another, and it works. It makes it interesting enough for the eye, but not overwhelming. So that's key. Small with something bigger. You can pair this with a great denim jean, or you can go for something like a cargo pant. I brought a great example with me here. So you have some fun details on the top, but the pant is in a neutral color since we have a lot of the color and the pizzazz going on up here. It's nice to mix in something that's more neutral. So we have cargo pant. And a neutral shoe. It's kind of in an olive color, but it's interesting. It's not only made out of leather, it has interesting details. The leather's kind of twisted. It's got sort of a pattern. And it's a low heel, very, very comfortable. So if you're heel phobic, try something like this. And if heels really, really don't work, look for a flat that's pointy, or a ballet flat that's got interesting details like this in a texture, and it won't overwhelm the eye. Next, we're going to explore more professional attire. Here we have a great white jacket, a great white blazer, and we have something interesting going on in terms of texture as well. It's not only patterned, it has a little sparkle in it. It's also kind of a tweed texture, so it's really interesting. We're mixing not only pattern, but texture here, and it's within the same color family, so it has more of a conservative professional feel, and this does very well in settings for professional office, teaching, presenting your business well. We have a solid which breaks up the pattern. You can see here how this pattern is a jacquard pattern, but it's bigger. And it is in the same family of kind of the silver and whites. This having silver and white as well in it, being a different texture, it goes well because this is a smaller, finer texture and print, and this is bigger. So again, we have the same motif of bigger print with smaller equals really interesting. Can help bring out your personality as well as your creativity and your style intelligence. So here we have a professional example of how to make every day a work of art. So again, my name's Tiffany Dunyon with Empower Style. For more style tips and ideas, feel free to visit my web presence at www.facebook.com/empowerstyle for all sorts of free style advice, tips, everything fun. Happy shopping and wardrobing, everybody.
All right, I hope you enjoyed those styles in talking with Tiffany today. So again, Tiffany is a creative soul. She has 3 businesses. We have the Tiffany Dunyon Studio of Voice, the Music Muse Music Studio, where we teach children with special needs, different sort of arts and crafts, arts and styles, and then the Empower Style Wardrobe Consulting. At the end of the segment, we'll have how to reach her of any of these businesses. Anything you'd like to add?
I'm so excited to be able to bring these services to the community. I teach lessons out of my lesson room in my residence in Derry, or I can deliver lessons. I work with choirs, I go into schools and work with groups of singers as well. And it's a lot of fun. It's definitely my passion. There's more than one way to express your voice, whether that's through singing physically, you know, with your physical voice, or speaking, or fashion, clothing. And it's definitely my passion to bring that to people and help empower others to express from the highest levels of themselves. So for the wardrobe consulting, I physically go to women's houses, or go shopping with them. So I'm very, very flexible and love helping other people.
Yeah. So it sounds like, you can reach individuals if you want to learn how to look your best, or kind of find a hidden talent. Or if you're a business or a profession that you work with, maybe special needs or children, with your daycare or school, it sounds like, and pretty much anyone can reach you and find one of these things and learn a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy to help. Ask me any questions. If you have ideas for how something that I could do would benefit that I haven't thought of before, by all means, feel free to contact me.
Is there anything that we missed that you'd like to say to people before we go?
I'm very excited to be able to offer these services, and I'm excited for what the future holds, and to meet new people and to help others.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I think some great services that you're adding to the community here. So it's great talking to you today. So again, I'm Debbie Roy. We'll have information about all these great services at the end of the segment. This has been Success in Art. If you're an artist or a business person or anyone who's found a way to live your passion, please give me a call, contact me. I'd love to have you as a guest on my show. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, my name's Tiffany Dunyon of Tiffany Dunyon Studio of Voice. I teach voice lessons to singers and speakers and offer Music Moose classes for early childhood and special needs. And today I have a special guest, Music Moose, with me, who wanted to talk a little bit about what we get to do in Music Moose classes. So Music Moose, what's one of your favorite things to do in Music Moose? The puppet show! The puppet show? I think all the kids like the puppet show too. What do you think? What's another thing that you like? I like the instruments. We get to play lots of instruments. We sing. Oh, we move. We get to compose. Well, my goodness, Music Moose, that's awesome. So what's one of your favorite music concepts that you've liked to learn about? I like forte, because forte means loud, and I got to play all my instruments loud. Yes, yes you did. I think many a teacher almost went deaf from that particular class. But yes, that is one of my favorite classes as well. Anything else you want to say? Happy singing and music making!